What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? A little late on my part. I had a little flooding issue I had to kind of take care of. I was like in the boat and just dumping water out. Neither here nor there. It's taken care of. So a little late on me, but we're here. Let's go ahead and get to the show. All right, day 2 from the Senior Bowl down there in Mobile, Alabama. I saw you got some. For those that don't know, we added them to the channel as well. Don was able to get a nice little interview snippet out here with the highly regarded linebacker, Mr. Peyton, doing his thing. So you can check those out on our shorts on the channel. As Dom's bringing us all the good info stuff, we're kind of dropping it on there too, not just with the shows here. With that being said, how was the weather out there today, Dom?
You know what? Yesterday I took a jacket with me just in case. Didn't need it. Today I knew, all right, I'm not going to need it. It was already a little bit warmer, but perfect weather. I bet those guys on the field felt like, it was perfect conditions for them. Not too cold, not too hot, nice little breeze. It, throughout the day warmed up, but man, good football weather.
Awesome. Well, what kind of lunatic in the building? What's going on, lunatic? I guess we'll start. We'll kind of go the same format we did yesterday, right? We'll start with the offensive side. We'll get to the defensive side. But before we get there, was there a big takeaway? Now you got into 2 days. Was there a bigger takeaway maybe that you kind of overarched some of the 2 days before we get to some of these offensive defensive guys, Dom?
Yeah, I think yesterday you kind of felt like guys were just now getting used to different coaching, different terminology, a lot of the install type stuff. So there's a lot of headiness stuff going on there. But today, where you now got to see it day 2, a little bit more, guys started to settle in. And so some of the players that we felt maybe yesterday didn't have an opportunity to flash or shine or have the ability to really show you what they had. Today, you start to see some guys coming along. And then some of the ones that did extremely well out the gate yesterday may have cooled down a little bit as those other guys started to shine and perform. So, yeah, it's been a kind of a tale of 2 days where I think overall day 2, the majority of guys put out good reps, good tape for all of the scouts in the league.
Awesome. Well, let's get over to this offensive side of the ball, man. Powers Johnson's done now. I don't think he needs to do anything else. I think he's pretty much done.
Yeah. So today I was really trying to focus more on the skilled positions because yesterday I spent a great deal of time looking at the guys in the trenches. And so as I kept peeking over, though, at the guys doing their stuff on the inside, I noticed that they're about to start transitioning into more of the team stuff. JPJ kind of disappeared, and I was like, okay. I think what you just did, buddy, is realized you are the top offensive lineman here at this whole event. You've already shown what you needed to show. So I think he may have just decided, I'm going to mail this one in. My stock is as high as it's going to get. There's no need to really try to put any more tape out there and risk anything.
It was out here one-handing guys. I said, ooh, look at this one hand he's doing on him. I said, oof.
The thing about him is there are times in the initial snap where he's beaten, but it's the recovery that's like next level. It's very elite. So he has all of the ability in the world to be able to get back in the position, whether that's refitting his hands or using the power to snatch a guy back, having the footwork to get in front of him and then just to sit and anchor and go ahead and start to displace guys. So he just continues to show that really where are any holes in this game? I really don't know. Maybe a tinge over aggressive at times. So you can kind of get out of balance. Other than that, well-rounded athlete, well-rounded player. He's looking like he solidified himself as the top center in this class.
Awesome. But speaking of the things, you know, pay a little bit more attention to the skill guys today. So, all right, man, who'd you like today? Who'd you like today from that skill side?
So on the skill side of things, yesterday, Xavier Leggett kind of had an up and down day. It felt a little bit rocky to me. There were a couple times where he let balls get into him, didn't really catch it. He was slower in his initial steps getting into his routes. But today it looked like he was a little bit crisp. It looked like he was ready to perform. And I think maybe it was less thinking, now more reaction. And so I thought he had a much better day two, where he caught a couple of balls that really allowed him to put his talents out there, where he had a couple of oohs and ahs from the crowd. So you start to get excited about what he can do as a pass catcher. I still think that some other guys are performing a little bit better. Roman Wilson, he's still up there doing extremely well. Got a nice interview with him and what he would bring to the table as a receiver, getting the Tyler Lockett comp by Jim Nagy. Tremendous athlete in his own right. Ladd McConkey still doing Ladd McConkey things on the inside and outside. And then, like, shockingly, which it probably shouldn't be because he comes from a great bloodline of athletes. Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver out of Rice, just continues to put together a very consistent Senior Bowl where, you know, he's putting himself into that day three talk. I don't know if he was really a drafted guy before the Senior Bowl, but when he's starting to, you know, call out and go against guys like Quinyon Mitchell is the top cornerback in this Senior Bowl, and is able to get the separation against him and get the ball, you start to go, all right, maybe we need to go back to the tape, look at Rice receiver Luke McCaffrey, because he does have those bloodlines, but he's showing it that he's got the talent himself to be a productive receiver in the league.
Okay. I mean, you know, when you got the name, you know, you show a little bit.
It helps.
Right? Things can start, you know, going your way. No ifs or buts about it.
Yep.
And I saw you on Twitter, and you know, where you were kind of talking about your list of the wide receivers at the moment, and I love to say, hey man, I'm just a big old guy, you know, with and here's why I see it.
I'm just a fat kid with an opinion, you know.
Yeah.
I ain't ever played receiver in my life, but just trying to get to know the game and learn and know the, you know, what it takes to be a good receiver and the route running and nuance and all of that. Then I try to put what knowledge I have into play as a fan of the sport. And when I see these guys here at the Senior Bowl, you know, in action after looking at tape and everything, it just continues to show that some of these smaller guys who are just quick, who have that route running ability naturally and have proven it multiple years in their career, seem to be doing much better at grasping the concepts that are being thrown at them, the new coaching that they're receiving. They're immediately going out and being significant contributors to their teams right now. So it's not to say that, again, you know, is plummeting on anybody's boards.
Right.
I think right now, as far as performance and consistency is concerned, those guys like your Roman Wilsons, Ladd McConkeys, and Malachi Corley, those guys are just doing a little bit better and putting more on tape for scouts to see that they got game, and they're definitely worth probably that second round pick. So decide to get a receiver of their ilk.
Right. And we kind of spoke about yesterday, you know, day two thing business will probably pick up for some of these guys just because of getting familiar with the terminology, you know, with the players they're playing against, and with obviously not their normal format with the different coaching and everything else. So not really surprised to see those guys take a step up. You know, give me your top three offensive guys today that you watch. Give me your top three, then we'll switch over to some defense.
You know what? Top three overall. I thought Michael Penix Jr. had a better day today.
Okay, bounce back. Okay.
Yeah, he had a nice day. He was able to get the rock out there, put it in positions where he gave his guys an opportunity to be able to go and get it. So I thought he had a nice day. Our late round running back, Vidal, he showed up in a few spurts. So that was a guy that I've been looking forward to seeing. Wanted to see if he got an opportunity. So he was able to score through a couple of times on some pretty big runs where the offensive line did a magnificent job of just washing everything down. And he had the vision to kind of be patient enough to let that develop. And then he hit it on the outside and he was moving. And then the last guy that I would think offensive wise that I would show some love to without repeating names that we've seen already or mentioned already. Oh man, it's I thought Javon Foster, the right tackle from Missouri, had a number of reps today where he was able to do a block, which is kind of difficult at times for an offensive lineman to get to, which is the scoop block. So you know the play is going opposite of your dominant side, and so for him to be able to get scoop, seal was nice, and he was doing it against guys with length. He was doing it against guys that got the speed, the power. So if he continues to put up performance like that, I think you feel like that's a solid day two pick, maybe third round. And just looking at him, his size, his ability, he might have that versatility to be able to kick inside. But Javon Foster had himself some nice moments where he flashed out there in the team period time. So yeah, his stock, I think, for some after that day one may have balanced itself back out.
Right. John All checking in said, could Brendan Rice, speaking of Jerry Rice's son, be something the Cowboys might look at or be good for us? I don't know where they're going to be at wide receiver. I think we've discussed leading up that I think they have to add a wide receiver for sure in this draft. Never mind what's going on with the Michael Gallup situation, whether he's going to be here or not, right? But simply, you look at, okay, Liam's getting the extension. It's the last year for Brandon Cooks. You got Tomer who's coming along. So, and even if you do keep Michael Gallup, right, this is probably the last year he's going to be here as well. So, I think they do have to add a wide receiver. Free agency could handle that, though. Maybe they do some free agency they feel good about, and it won't be, via the draft. But, I mean, could it be a Brandon Rice? Sure. That's probably a late day 2, day 3 guy for me right now in that realm. But they take a look at that. Just kind of depends on the board and how they're building and what they're looking to accomplish. I guess there's always the conundrum of if they're sitting at 24 and one of these top end wide receivers fall to them, does that change their mind on drafting somebody like a Powers Johnson or something?
And Brendan Rice, one of the things that I've noticed here is he has a good ability to be able to stack or get on top of the cornerback, and then a little bit of that deep speed or long speed to start to pull away. But one of the things I do question is his tracking ability, because there have been a couple of times where you're like, oh man, you got to get that. You got to get that, Rice. You got to get that one. Right. But it is a contested catch. It is a little bit of a different catch to make, almost that center field like looking over the shoulder. But he's definitely has some tools, the physical tools, where you kind of look at him and you get excited because you see a guy that's tall with length, but he's not too slender where you feel like he can be bullied around right there at the point of attack. So I'm definitely interested and intrigued in what he could bring. So I wouldn't see why Dallas wouldn't like him maybe somewhere in the middle of the draft if they are still targeting a receiver.
Big facts. So yeah, let's kind of let it play out and see. That 4th round pick, or neither here nor there. We'll pivot over here to the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, the highlight of the day probably coming from Mr. Sweat, University of Texas. Bit the guy backwards, bent him in half. He almost half the man. He had to get up off of him. Had to let him go. Then I saw another one where he took on 2 blockers and just stonewalled him, walked them on down the line. So Sweat maybe a little passive yesterday, finding his way today, kind of walked through the door.
So The guy that he did that to, where he just folded the center, was Bo Limmer, the guy that I interviewed yesterday because he was doing really well against Sweat. But he's a guy that I've been looking at in this whole process, thinking it's light center, and he's actually a pretty solid center for a 1 year starter. So to see him do well against Sweat yesterday in the one-on-ones for 2 reps where he stonewalled him one time, Sweat kind of stumbled and fell. And then in the interview, I asked him like, who's a player that you're most excited to kind of get after and have an opportunity to go against? He said Sweat because they're training. Well, I don't know if he really wanted that smoke today. Somebody in league offices somewhere, or uh, his representation got a hold of him. Sweat, it felt like you could see the difference in his confidence today, just in the drills. Like it was a little bit more pep to his step. Where yesterday I was like, he seemed to be a little reserved and laid back. Um, Not today. You saw him kind of in it. And from the very first one-on-one rep, it was like, all right, he's here. And then that very next rep of his, which is the one where he folded the center, was like, oh yeah, it's over. And then he started to just continue to get better and better throughout the practice and then going into team ball. So either he, thought to himself or somebody let him know, like, you got to step it up. But he definitely stepped it up today. And as he was doing it, I looked over to Big Game James and I was like, you know what, BG, like, I think I got him figured out. I got him figured out. He's not going to look sexy in these one-on-one drills.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the guy that's just going to shed somebody, throw him, this great rusher, just whizzing by people. I think he knows exactly what his job is. I think he's prepared for that job because anytime you get him in those 2-on-1 situations, he is eating space. He's standing his ground. He's got great contact balance. He's not being pushed back.
Right.
So I think he's one of those selfless guys who realizes what his true role and what his true value is going to be. If he develops into a much better rusher, where it's not just a collapse of the pocket to put the offensive line into the lap of the quarterback, if he can develop and get more hand techniques or develop a move or use a little bit more quickness, maybe drop just a smidge of weight, not too much, maybe get down to the 335 range, because it is unique that his weight is the only guy that they decided not to list his weight. So I'm assuming he's over 360 by saying that. So a guy that's that big could, do well with losing 20 pounds or so, and just to get a little bit more quickness, keep a little bit more stamina. But what we saw out of him today, it was like, all right, that's back end of the first round quality. What you saw yesterday was more like, you're a middle round pick, Bubba. So he stepped it up today. Hats off to Devondre Sweat because you did your thing. And that's something that you want to get excited about. But then it makes you a little bit cautious and nervous to go, are you the type who just turns it on and try to flip the switch? Because I'm looking at Braden Fisk, who has all these physical limitations of being a short arm, short limb guy, small even. His body type is one where he's having to pack on weight, and he's already maxed out his frame at 295 pounds with 30-inch arms. And it's like he's all over the place. And so it's not that Sweat doesn't have the stamina. It's more of the tenacity. Are you really wanting it from snap to snap? Gotcha. So if he can keep that flip on, that switch on, man, it's lights out. Because moving a body like he's moving at 360 pounds.
Well, and I definitely enjoyed when you had a chance to speak with Fisk as well, to see the big old 5'5" right there. I said, we know what it is. That's perfectly fine for this gentleman.
Yeah. that felt like something poetic
Yeah, it
because like
did.
it's I only had it on his chest and didn't realize it, but it's like, man, it's what's right behind that chest, that heart
Yeah,
that makes him.
yeah.
And to hear him just speak, just cool, relax, down to earth, you can tell he been around a bunch of us.
Yeah.
He like you, Nick. It was like talking to you. It was like talking to a 20-year-old Nick, where he was just real smooth and calm with it. But definitely you could see the confidence and things that I didn't really get on video as I continue to talk to him. He was saying that, yeah, I know what my limitations are. I know that I don't have the overall physical tools that some of these other guys have. But what I was always taught is you better have some kind of A trait. And one of the things about that is how you approach every single play
Right.
with, you know, the control, the power, the speed, just having that ferocious spirit about you. So that's why he plays with his hair on fire, because he knows he's got to put it out there for his teammates, but also do what he knows in his heart he needs to do. So yeah, that was great to have 55 right there shining
Yeah.
on his chest, and then he's talking about all this heart that he has. I'm a fan of him now. I just want to see him do well, and it'd be nice if he went and got that Cowboys blue on.
No doubt. Who has got to the defense side today? Good day for you. Who's got a good day for you? Maybe that you like. Yeah,
So I gotta bring up a guy I said yesterday.
Okay.
I
He's stacking days.
I man. So going into this week, I had him as fringe second rounder, like from third to second. But I was like, I just need to see something.
Hmm.
Man, yesterday I was like, oh yeah, definitely a second rounder, high second rounder. Today, yeah, that mug gonna be in the first round. Darius Robinson out of Missouri.
Okay.
There's no way, no how that kid should be on the board, well into the second round. He's got to be there in the first, somewhere early second, because when you look at him, it's like you're a size, speed, weight guy where you're 6'5", 296 pounds or whatever it is,
Hmm.
running the way he runs with the 34, almost 35
Forearms. Yeah.
inch arms. It's like he is a supersized DeMarcus Lawrence, where he's 2 inches taller, he's 2 inches longer, far as the or an inch longer, far as the length, and then um, 35 pounds heavier. Like
Hmm.
he's already showing a power and an ability and a nuance in his hand techniques and what he's trying to do to manipulate the offensive lineman. Seeing him go one on one against Tyler Guyton, who's arguably one of the best tackles in the whole class, and him not have any problems. Instead, he's like tinkering during that
Hmm.
rep. I'm like, you toying with guys out here. Like, you don't see that unless a guy is super confident in what he already brings to the table and he's able to soak up coaching to go, all right, now I'm going to work on what that guy just told me.
Hmm.
So now watch me do it. And then be able to go do it. There's a lot of us
Right.
who receive teaching and coaching, but then we just can't go execute it because of our limitations. He has no physical limitations, no athletic limitations. Is he a twitchy guy? No. Is he a little bit stiff hip here or there? Maybe. But when you put the full package to him, when somebody mentioned that yesterday to me about being a bell cow defensive end, he's a bell cow defensive lineman, and you can work him from three all the way to the outside. So that's high value.
Mm.
That kid, that kid's a baller.
Okay. Okay. Stacking good days back to back. All right. Give me
Missouri showing
Missouri,
up.
Mizzou. Let's go. Let's go. How about one more? I know we talked several defensive guys, so maybe another guy today that stepped up and had himself a good day.
Michael Hall Jr.,
Mm,
defensive tackle from Ohio State. The thing
okay.
that you consistently see is what you saw this past year at Ohio State and then the year before, where going into the 23 season, we hit him with the Pick Six Sports Prospect Watch hashtag because he had initial great burst out of his stance. He was a strong guy. He looked like he was able to use long limbs, though he is a smaller interior defensive tackle. But today he was getting up and into everybody. The only person that really could kind of slow him down and neutralize that initial burst and the power that he brings with it was JPJ.
Okay.
And JPJ was only able to do well against him because he has those elite recovery skills. But
Mm,
other than that, he would have had a sack where I mean, it was probably the biggest ooh and ah time of the day other than Tavondre Sweat with his pancaking of the center. And then also whenever you got the snatching off of the helmet by Jordan Jefferson on the UConn guard Christian Hayes, and then he
yeah.
threw it. They got in a little scuffle, and Hayes told him, "If you're scared, go to church." Haynes, he was like, "Man, you
Getting
scared? Go to
after it.
church."
Oh
Uh,
boy.
but but yeah, other than that, man, it was a really nice day. Where, like I said, a sack. He would have gotten a
Mm,
tackle for loss. He had a ball where he batted the ball down. He was
mm,
everywhere, pumping up the sideline, high motor kid. And I had a chance to interview him and listen to just him talking about receiving coaching and going out and using what he has and knowing that he too is a smaller guy and he has to bring it every single snap.
big facts. Okay. All right. Well, that's some who 2 days into this. If you want to give me just one or two guys, hey, need a good day three out of you. I know my guy Steven was talking about Bo Nix. I know we've heard a lot of stuff about Bo Nix. You know, maybe had not a great day. So guys here, but just just got to find your foot in day three. You need to really kind of turn the lights on a little bit.
Yeah, I think the guy that has had the most difficult Senior Bowl thus far was a man that, going back to the middle of the season, he was seen as a first round cornerback
Oh,
for many because of the skills, the tools that he has, the size, 5'11", 185 pounds, put on great tape in 2022. So you only thought he's going to get better.
better, right?
That's Kalen King out of Penn State.
State.
But for the last 2 years, or last 2 days, I should say, he's been kind of the where's Waldo guy. Where
Mm-hmm.
in the one-on-ones after they were completed with that drill yesterday, he got called out
Cool.
by I
Okay.
think it was the North Carolina receiver, Tez Walker. Got called out. And first rep, Tez got by him, bad pass. So the coaches said, run it again. He trots back. Tez is ready. And just it was no good. Tez easily won that battle where Kalen was trying to be physical by jamming him at the line, and it was nothing for Tez to get by it. Went on, caught a nice little crossing route, would have scored a touchdown, and hit his head on a goalpost. And then you just continue to see more of that during team ball, where anytime he was targeted, it seems as if the ball was caught, and he wasn't maintaining his balance. And then today, there was a point where I'll have to give it to him because
Mm,
he's still out there competing. He's still out
right.
there trying his best. There was a ball where Brendan Rice, speaking of him, was trying to track it, but he just couldn't get to it. He definitely had the
Mm,
separation. And Kalen was still trying to catch up. He ended up diving, tried to swat the ball, missed the ball, but he landed funny. And I think in a normal situation, he probably would have taken himself out because he stayed on the ground for a long time. And I kept thinking, where are the trainers? Go look after
right.
this kid. He stayed down for a while. And I don't know if it was just the breath got knocked out or what, but he ended up getting up, staying in the motion of things. Didn't miss any of his normal reps. They just went on and
Okay.
subbed somebody in.
Good,
But
good,
yeah,
good.
it just showed me like he realizes like what's on the line, and that
Mhm.
any little nick, any little injury that he gets, that if it's not serious, there's a difference between hurt and injured. So he's still
Right.
competing, still trying to do well, but definitely that's the guy probably of all 124 guys that are here. He's probably had one of the toughest Senior Bowls so far.
Well, let's maybe, and I guess we can address the maybe the buzz of, at least here in Cowboys land, of Edie Player, right? And that is the one and only Peyton, linebacker out of North Carolina State. And we talked about something, yesterday we kind of led off here. You had a great interview. Again, we got it on the shorts, Dom's interview with him on the YouTube channel. As you said it yesterday, right? First round head, fourth round body.
Yep.
And continuously another good day stacked on top of it. Now here is he the second round special? Is that what we're looking at? The second round special for the old Cowboys?
So I was telling my guys around me that we've been chilling and hanging out this week so far. I was like, y'all, here's the deal with this. We're gonna have to get some distance from this Senior Bowl, so we're not held captive by the moment. We need to make sure we kind of caution ourselves and our thoughts about these players, because when you do talk to them, you start to see the personality. That stuff
Mm-hmm.
matters, and then you want to root for guys a little bit more than you probably did before meeting them. And then when you got guys with red flags, especially the medical of the medical variety, then you tend to really root for them for things to pan out and do well. But I still couldn't help myself by just realizing how instinctual this guy looks on tape and how
Mm-hmm.
that matches whenever you're talking to him. So, you have your questions formed, you're ready to fire them off. And with the very first question, he's giving you answers that go ahead and touch base on those, potential follow ups to try to dig more information out of guys who a little more reserved, or, may not be the guy that would be at a podium. But as he starts talking, he's developing his answers where he's touching base on 4 or 5 of your questions, and you're having to try to be an active listener to then think, all right, now what can I then jump on? So for
Mm-hmm.
him to talk about how he is the green dot guy of the team this week, liken that to being the quarterback of the team, explain what that really means. Him having to really know what everybody on the field is doing, not just on the defensive side of the ball, but also the offensive side of the ball. Definitely trying to get his keys on what the offensive line is doing, but what the running back in the backfield may be doing. Trying to listen to see if he can key in on terminology that the quarterback uses. Maybe that can help him later in the game if he sees a pattern start to develop and it's kind of the same thing, while also realizing that he knows he's undersized. He knows that he would prefer to be an outside linebacker, offside, like a weak side guy, so he can just roam and be free flowing. He's looking for an opportunity to be that in the league, by the way. But yet to know that I still got to bring the thunder when it's time to be physical, whether it's with an
Mm-hmm.
offensive lineman or tackling somebody in the hole. Just to hear him talk, it's like this guy gets it. This is a
Right.
true football player, but he's got the physical tools to be a good football player, as well as he's got the mindset for it and the ability to soak in information. And then I just simply asked him too, like, where did you get the motor from? Where do you get that stamina? Because we see you and I've seen you on this field do exactly what I've seen in tape, where you're chasing guys 40 yards across the field, even when you're well out of the play. And he then said in that video, like, man, I get it from my mama and my dad, like the kind
Mm-hmm.
of things that they instilled in him. So his interviews, he's probably killing it with all of the teams that are asking him to go to the whiteboard to just talk about himself, get to know him. And then when you see him on the field, you just know, like, man, that is first round talent, but he's got fourth round head, shoulder, knees, and or knees
Toes.
and toes. And so it's like, The head is first round, but the shoulder, knees, and toes is fourth round. So that's why it's Cowboys Nation. There's a conundrum. What are we
Yeah.
going to do with Peyton Wilson? Where do you place him, knowing he's had almost double, well, he's had double-digit surgeries, follow-ups are included within that to clean up stuff. But it's like, what do you do with that? And we have had a history where second round has ailed this team, whether it's missing on those picks because you're going and looking for specific needs, or guys who are already medical issues or character issues. Second round has hurt Dallas. We put the stat out a couple of weeks ago where 83% of their first round picks become second contract guys, become guys that are a part of the foundation of the team. They pan out. We talked about third round. They're striking at 50%, which is a very nice percentage. But in the second round, it's at 27%.
No bueno.
Where some of those guys aren't even finishing their rookie contracts, like the recent one that you got in Boss Man Fat. And then we got nothing out of the production of your 23 second rounder. So what are you going to do? Knicks, what would you do in this situation? Hearing the buzz out of the Senior Bowl, seeing with your own eyes what the tape shows, but knowing about those medicals, would you sit there and advise the Cowboys if you were right there in the war room? And let's say first round, we already got your boy Jackson Powers.
Okay.
Like we got Powers Johnson first round. Let's just say that's our guy. And then in the second round, it's like, well, running backs, Trey Benson, you're gone. You ain't got that option. Top running back is gone. Now, Edrin Cooper, he went much higher than people anticipated because his rush ability. He's gone. Most of those receivers that you would have thought about, maybe possible borderline first, like the Troy Franklins of the world, the A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, they're gone. But now you got every other linebacker you can choose from.
Yeah.
From linebacker 2 all the way down. You got every other running back except for Trey Benson. But your tackles have been wiped out because tackles are going to get wiped.
Yeah, they'll be gone. Right.
But maybe you got, I'll give you a good one. Patrick Paul, let's say he's right there in the second round for you at pick 56. So you got a Patrick Paul left tackle out of Houston who's 6'7", 323 pounds, who needs to work on hand technique. Then you got Peyton Wilson, second round, right there for you with all of that speed, ferocity. Like, and you got any running back you want except Trey. Like, what would you do? What would you do?
Man, I pull the trigger on Peyton. I think I would. I think I'm folding.
Oh,
but I mean, here's the thing. If it's Powers Johnson, it would be hard not to. But that body, man, and here's the thing. It's like our luck within that stretch of guys who maybe had not injury like this, right? Obviously, it's never really panned out for us. Whether it was Sean Lee, Bruce Carter, Jalen Smith, it just hasn't worked well. So it's hard. Like I said, you go and get, it worked out for you to the certain extent that he came halfway back his rookie year and played all year in Damone Clark. But you didn't get to the fifth round though. That's a little bit different. Taking a chance on a medical guy there, right, is much more palatable than doing it in the second round. So. Yeah, I mean, I've seen some guys out there F the medicals taking and whatnot, but look, there will be a Trotter there, there will be a Gray there, that you could look at with only, as you were talking, only Cooper being the only guy selected that at that moment. Yeah, you got to look at the tackle, sure, but man, look, we got your boy Austin Richards last year. I'm ready to see his development. I think you're going to have Tyron back, so that's why I've been very big from the outset about center. From the very beginning on this thing, because I think tackle's going to be just fine for another year for you to press that trigger, to press that button to really get a guy. I'm granted now if something lands to you that shouldn't be there, that's completely different. He's in the conversation. Third round, I'd say yes. I'm still going to hold on right now and say no at 56. I'm still going to say no at 56. Third round, I'm going to fold like a lawn chair in the third round, though. I promise you, third round, I'm folding like a lawn chair. But 56, I got to go a different route.
Yeah, I'm. You already know what season it is.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna be there.
He ain't gonna be there.
And you know what?
It only takes one team.
It takes one. These linebackers are. I'm starting to not think it's not as hard to stack them anymore for me. Because before this, I would have had Cedric Gray over him. I would have had Adrian Cooper over him, knowing that all three of them are different style linebackers, including
for sure.
Yeah, including Trotter. But and then Junior Colson is floating out there. I'm still not as high on Colson as many, but I see all the physical stuff that comes along with, and he's got that traditional linebacker size and good athleticism, so it gets you excited. But I still need to do some due diligence on that one. But for me, just like pure linebacker who can do linebackery things and not, like let's say eliminate the edge, like the rough stuff. Just think about what you think of a linebacker that can roam, that can, do the run fits, all that stuff. I think he is the best linebacker at doing that stuff. Then when you think about adding the speed on top of that, then he can rush the quarterback in his own right. I start to get
excited. Take him at 56, Dom? You take him at 56?
You know what?
You in the war room. You take him at 56.
What did Jerry say yesterday? We all in?
We all in? You all in?
Well, we all in. We all in. Because if you can tell me, think about this. Think about this. I've really been thinking about this all evening, ever since the practices were over. I'm like, all right, JPJ, he might not be there, but I think him or Graham Barton will be there. And I'm going to do everything I can to get significant instant contributors with my first 2 to 3 picks.
Yeah.
And I'm going to fix the middle of my team. We need to fix the backbone of this team, which is your center. Or
talk to me.
Your linebacker on defense or your defensive tackles. Like, give me the spine, give me up the middle. I can build from inside out. And this class is lining up for you to be able to do that, where you got 2 elite level guys with you can almost write the same evaluation report for Graham and Jackson Powers or Jackson Powers Johnson. Are they athletic to be able to, zone block or get to the next, get to the second level? Are they able to hand things off? Absolutely. Are they maulers, which, you want to change the mentality and the toughness of this team? Absolutely. Right. Can they anchor well whenever they maybe not, have the initial battle won, but then they refit? Can they do all that and then anchor? Absolutely. Right. Do they seem to be smart football players? Yes. Do they have experience playing a number of snaps for multiple years and have guard or center experience? Neither one of them have a tremendous amount there, but they have a tremendous amount of snaps, knowing what it takes to be an offensive lineman. Like Graham Barton has 39 games under his belt, 5 being at center, so he knows how to snap and knows what it's like. I think you have 2 guys that you could take at 24. You've immediately fixed the middle of the offense, and you got guys who can cut off half the field, where that is the cheat code for an offensive lineman. Then you're talking about second round to be able to get a linebacker who can do it all, play all of the positions for you. Check. Tough as nails. Check. Bring a mentality and a fortitude to the team that's been missing. Check. He's super intelligent, so he can be your green dot guy because he can probably pick up the concepts that are going to be asked of him to pick up. Check. Quarterback of that defense. Check. Now I got my third rounder available. And if in free agency I haven't addressed something and there's still a little bit of a hole, hey, third round, a guy that did well today, I think he is the second best natural nose tackle type, McKinley Jackson from Texas A&M. Hey,
Yeah.
big dog, you keep a nice base. Hey, big dog, you have good contact balance. Hey, big dog, you're not just getting washed down the line. You kind of understand what it is to bow up. So right there in the first 3 rounds, I can get guys that I know can significantly impact this roster and fix from the inside and then work my way out. So yeah, give me Peyton Wilson, second round. I might have him for a little while, but hey, what's that song? I ain't here for a
long time. I'm here for a good time.
And he gonna have all of Cowboys Nation going, man. This is a good time to be a Cowboys fan. So give me that second round.
10-4. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll put a pin in it right there for day 2 coverage of the Reese's Senior Bowl. We'll be back tomorrow once again 5 o'clock. Sorry, we're a little bit late today. Like I said, I had some issues at the house that popped up on me, but we'll be back at it again tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So stay tuned, stay locked in, and we'll see where day 3 goes and what that brings us with these guys out there in Mobile. All right, y'all. Y'all be safe and have a good evening. Peace.
Peace.